So you're thinking about buying a new construction property in Charlotte, North Carolina? Well, today I'm going to teach you 3 ways to win at new construction. And I'm coming to you not only as a realtor, but also as a homeowner. Stick around. We're going to go there right now. If you're not sure who I am, my name is Yadi Karina Jones, and I'm a real estate agent with Lifestyle International Realty here in Charlotte and the surrounding areas. I am a new construction specialist, so if you are considering purchasing a property in Charlotte, North Carolina, or nearby in the surrounding areas, I would love to work with you. Feel free to connect with me using the contact information below. If you're not ready to make a move to Charlotte yet, but you are considering it, make sure you check out my videos so you can find out more about what it's like to live, work, and play here in Charlotte. Now, let's find out more about 3 ways that you can win at new construction. The first way to win at buying new construction is to compare lenders. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to go with 5 lenders, but I think it's important to at least have one other lender before you entertain using the builder's lender. Now, there are 2 important reasons for this. The first is because if you have a lender already, they're going to be able to tell you if you're pre-approved and you qualify to purchase a property of that price point. That way you don't fall in love with a community that you cannot buy into. The second reason is because the builder is going to push you to use their lending institution, and sometimes the builder is actually affiliated with the lending institution. Now, that kind of clouds things a little bit, right? But if you have an exterior lender, that person can help you do an apples to apples comparison to see if the builder is actually giving you a good deal or if there are some hidden costs in there that you don't know about. Now, lenders are often aware that builders will give incentives, and sometimes they cannot beat the incentives. And they're typically very clear and honest about that. If a builder is offering you $20,000 towards closing costs, a lot of times an exterior lender cannot beat that, but you would be surprised at how many things they do and add to the cost to pad it, and so you end up not really seeing the whole $20,000. So I think it's really, really important to have a lender on your side before you approach a new construction community. The second way to win at new construction is to double check the warranty that the builder is offering. And I want to make sure you do these things before you sign on the dotted line, because after that, it's way too late. Most builders are going to offer a 1-2-10 policy, which means that the first year they're going to cover small imperfections like nail pops, slight cracks, potentially caulking or crown that has split. These are things that you need to ask questions about, because I've gone to some builders where they say they'll only fix nail pops, and other builders will do a lot more. The second year mark is when they stop covering things that are behind your wall. So you're talking about plumbing, electrical, these type HVAC units, things like that. I'm going to give you an example of something that happened to us. Now, in about year 4, we started to notice that one of our rooms was a lot colder than all of the other rooms, but we never stayed in that room, so we weren't aware of it until our guests started complaining about that room, just saying, wow, it feels really cold in there. Well, we had someone come out and test the air in that room, and basically it was about 4 degrees colder than the rest of the house. But because we were past that 2-year mark, they refused to fix it. So definitely double check your warranty. And once you move into the house, make sure you're checking, maybe sleeping in a room that you typically wouldn't sleep in, to see if you notice some things there that you need to address with your warranty company. The 10-year has to do with structure. Now, here's where I want you to be careful, because the structural things are the most expensive, or probably the most expensive things to fix. So you definitely want to make sure that you understand if this is a 10-year policy or something less. My particular policy was 6 years instead of 10. So that doesn't give us a lot of time to start seeing if things are moving or if we're noticing anything that needs to be said to the builder before, or not the builder, but the warranty company before this time frame expires. So it's very, very important. I would definitely be going for the 10-year structural deal as opposed to 6 years. We decided to move forward, but you definitely want to check all of this prior to signing the contract. The third way to win at purchasing new construction is to visit the property often. Now, some builders are a lot more lenient than others are. Some do not like you to come unless you have a hard hat, unless you're with your realtor, unless the superintendent is on the premises. So double check with the listing agent prior to visiting, but you need to check your property often. I am not kidding you when I tell you that I used to come to my property at least 3 times a day. And they were tired of seeing me, but that I lived nearby. So I was committed to seeing what was going on and what the process was. And that was over a 6-month period. So I was there all the time. I'm not saying that you have to come 3 times a day, but you need to at least be there, I would say, every other week or once a week. Do not wait until those appointments where they set them to look at your property, because things could be happening and you're not aware of them. And then it's too late to correct them, because sometimes I have heard builders say that they're not going to fix something, even if it's their mistake. It's just too costly sometimes to turn around and rip something out that you didn't identify beforehand. So there were a couple of things that happened in my personal house, and I'll give you an example. One of those was that one of our doors was a lot shorter than we anticipated. Now, the builder said that the height was correct. It was not the height that we expected based on the model that we had purchased the property as a result of. But what they did was, because we identified it early in the process, they reframed it and made it 8 feet as opposed to 6 feet, 8 inches. So that's one example. Another example is that during the process of drywall going in, and this is where you really, really need to check things. Had I looked at this when it was in framing, I would have picked it up earlier and it would have been such an easier fix. The builder still moved forward and fixed it. But basically, I had 4 recessed lights in our primary bedroom, and the lights were not equidistant. So they were kind of like off center. Something was going on with them. Now, the builder did notice later on when I pointed it out, but it was after drywall was in. So they actually had to take some drywall down and repair it. So really come and visit your property as often as you can and pay attention to the small details, because they'll get away from you. And sometimes the crew is busy and they've got a lot of houses going, and the builder will not rectify the situation. Now, something like that, they probably would, but I've heard flooring go in incorrectly. I've heard of other things that the builder just did not change, and that's because it took too long for someone to say that there was an error. So definitely visit your property as much as possible. So I'm going to give you one bonus to winning at purchasing new construction, and that's going to be when you get to your design center. So before you get to the design center appointment, and that's only if you have one, because some builders are pre-selecting all of the finishes and you don't have choices. But if you're purchasing a property where you do get to make choices or to design it completely, pre-think what you want to put in the house. Have the things that you must have versus the things that you want, and ask a lot of questions when you get there. So let's go back to the things you have to have. For example, if this is a house that you feel that you're going to stay in forever and you're a techie person, maybe you want to put in some more technological features versus if you know you're going to sell the house in the future, you may want to focus on architectural things like adding crown molding or casing, or some nicer baseboards, upgrading the trim package, maybe doing some tray ceilings. These architectural features stay with the home and people are excited about them. The other thing is that set your budget ahead of time, because when you get there, you're going to get so excited about all the options you have that you may go overboard, and then you're going to get to the point where you're not going to really see that equity play. So definitely set a budget. If there are things that you can do aftermarket that would be a little less expensive than going with the builder, do so. One example of something that I would not do is if you are thinking about putting wood stairs. So there's carpet. So a lot of times carpeting is the first option, and then you have, your fully wooden stairs. There, I would not go with the carpeting. So if you're thinking in the future that you want wooden stairs, I would do it at that time. And that's because when they do carpeting, they never add the exterior layer. They just kind of do the interior part of the stairs and then just put the carpet on it. So it's not like you can just pull off the carpet and it's going to be what you need it to be. You're going to still have to get the stairs repaired or upgraded. So make sure that things like that you do ahead of time. Now, when it comes to selecting things, also ask a lot of questions, because sometimes there are things that they will not tell you. I'm not sure why. I don't know if they forget or there's a lot going on and they just don't let you know about all the options. But for example, if you want soft close drawers, sometimes they forget to tell you. Or if you want three-way lighting, sometimes they forget to tell you that that's available. So ask a lot of questions ahead of time before you sit down with the design center. So today I shared 3 ways plus a bonus at winning at purchasing new construction. I also have another video called 3 things to avoid when purchasing new construction. So make sure you check that one out too. I'll link it above and below so that you can absolutely win at this particular type of purchase. My name is Yadi Karina Jones. I am an agent with Lifestyle International Realty here in Charlotte and the surrounding areas. If you need help with purchasing a property here in Charlotte, North Carolina, or if you're thinking that you want to know more about the process, feel free to connect with me using the contact information below. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.